Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 593.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
Hey guys, those of you who are out there, Stephanie, you should be able to see me. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm checking to make sure that the stream is going well. So, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, maybe the 101st time, I really don't know. Where to go? Welcome back. Glad that you are here because we are going to have some fun tonight talking about some things and as it relates specifically to short-term rentals and helping you continue to, well, walk forward. Where's, interesting. For some reason, it actually isn't showing in the other group. Okay, so just give us 1 second. We're having a technical glitch of some kind. Or no, hold on. Oh, that's the Facebook page. 1 second. Haha, found it. Okay, I see what happened. It's coming now. Or at least I hope it's coming now. And it says live. So refresh. There it is. Okay, you should see it now. Sorry guys, I didn't realize that we're actually broadcasting on a completely different channel, and now I understand why it looks the way it does. I was actually wondering where more people were. I'm like, I don't see you. Where are you? And welcome. So for those of you who are just now finding us, because you know we were broadcasting in the wrong location, welcome and welcome back, because I know you were looking for us. You're like, where you at? And here we are. So I'm glad that you decided to come back. Thanks for understanding and the technical difficulties. Interestingly, today's been a very productive day, and one of the things that I was in the process, or I've been in the process of doing, is as you're building a business, sometimes what you want to do is build things like business credit and or credit lines and or deeper relationships with financial institutions, not necessarily because you need the money, but because you should, because you may need the money at some point in the future. And I got to invest some time with my CFO today, which is always very valuable, and being able to do so and understand and direction, and for she and I to go back and forth on what the company objectives are and how we're trying to get there. Well, it makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference. It makes, in this case, all the difference, because now there's just that much more that as a company you're able to do when you have the right people on the team. So just double checking. Stephanie, if you can, let me know that you can see me, because that is really, really important. And for those of you who are just now joining, you know the drill, or you should know the drill by now. Yes, there is a worksheet for today. That worksheet looks like, come on. It looks like, I'm going to show you on my phone. You should have it if you don't already. And today's worksheet, there it is. Open. So this one at the top of the, at the top, it says systems right there at the top. What it says is systems. So that's what you should have right there. Got it. So, and I see a number of you are getting here, so this is great. Olympia, welcome back. Glad that yes, glad I made it. I know. I'm glad I made it too, because technology was not being friendly today. And then we had a session with some of our students, which is going, I think it's going well. I'm overexcited. And being able to help them continue to make progress, people getting more units started. There's just so many things that are going on and are always going on, because this industry moves so quickly, which is exciting. So if you don't have the worksheet, do me a favor, go ahead and type in the chat, short-term rentals rock, because when you do that, that'll be assigned to Megan as well as Stephanie to go ahead and make sure that they get you the worksheet, because you guys know how this works. We are going to fill in the worksheet. You know when we're done, because the worksheet will likely be close to full, if not full. And for those of you who are wanting to find out what the prizes are and the giveaways look like, you're going to be back tomorrow for sure, because we're going to be announcing them and helping some people know how they can win. What does that mean? You need to fill out the worksheet, upload your homework from yesterday and to cashflowdiary.com/homework-upload. Make sure that you've got that done, because not underscore. I'm being clear, not underscore. Because again, all of these actions get you points, get you entries into the giveaways, and somebody's going to regret it. Someone who's watching and not filling out the homework and not commenting in the chat and not clicking like and not inviting friends is going to regret it. Anyway, because that's like my commitment. My commitment is to make you go, dang it, I wish I did more of them. That's literally my point. So just know that that's my goal. With that being said, we want to recap yesterday. So let me go over to yesterday and find the thread to find out, because what we're doing is I'm looking for that one thing. What is something that you learned yesterday that you did not know, something that will help you in your business as it relates to going out there to getting a landlord to say yes? Because that's what we were talking about yesterday. Now, if this is your first day here, you need to go back to the units. It's usually up on the upper left side, and I think I'm pointing correctly. Yeah, it's on the upper left side, and it's under units. You can go back to unit 1, unit 2, day 1, day 2, day 3, so that you can get caught up, because you want to get caught up. And make sure you continue to comment and do the homework, all of those things, because you don't want to miss the information back there. And because a lot of what we're going to be talking about today builds on what we talked about back there. All right. So if today feels like a little off for you, it's only because there's some information back there that we already talked about on one of the prior days, and you definitely want to get caught up and make that happen. So with that being said, let's talk about some of the things, or if you haven't already, go ahead and type in the chat something that you got, one oh my goodness moment that you got from yesterday is what I'm looking for at this particular moment. So let me go under here, units. There we go. Training, day 3. Got it. And then what were the takeaways from yesterday? Those are the giveaways. I want the takeaways. All right, let me go look over here. So, got it. Am I still meeting the worksheets? Where can we find it? Art, if you don't have the worksheet, go ahead and type short-term rentals rock in the chat, and Megan and or Stephanie will be able to make sure that you get it. April says that she needed a refresher on how to talk to a landlord, as it's been a little bit. Understood. I like the question. Have you ever gotten a tenant from Craigslist? Right? Because, yeah, you have, and I know it, and you know it. So don't pretend like, you only get your people from one spot somehow. We know that. And then they go through the process. And when you can remind them of these things, it communicates that you know kind of how they do what they do. And it also puts you both on the same level, as opposed to anything else that they could have been thinking before. So, yep, that's man. Yeah, that's a good one, April. Love it. What is this? John Johnson says, I wish I knew about this. I would have done this. John, wish you knew about what? What would you have done? I'm not sure what you're referring to, John, but I'm willing to answer the question for sure. Speaking of answering questions, if you've gone through day 1, day 2, day 3, and you're here today and you're like, I still have a question, Saturday, we will be doing the Q&A. It's more of an open Q&A, and for fun, we have a call-in line. So you'll actually be able to call in, ask your question. We'll be able to talk back and forth, which we have found to be kind of helpful for people. So we'll be able to do that as well. So make sure you come back on Saturday. So again, Friday we'll be announcing what the giveaways are. We'll begin to announce some of the winners. And some of you, let me put it this way. Someone who's doing the homework, someone, I don't know who, but someone who's doing the homework will actually win something that's worth $5,000. Yep. Suddenly now you got a lot more questions. You want to invite a few more friends? No, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, somebody's going to win something worth $5,000 US, so that we're clear. And if that's valuable to you, make sure the homework's turned in. Make sure, tag a friend, bring them in, because what we're here to do is to create entrepreneurs. That's what CashFlowDiary does. So just keep that in the back of your head as we continue and move forward. All right, let's see, what else did you get? 5.6 days was an eye-opener on length of stays, right? Because, and if I remember correctly, most everyone thought it was less than 5 days because, for whatever reason. And one of the unknown secrets is you can run in this particular short-term rental business model with minimum stays of 30 days and more. I think the longest one that we've done personally was 182 days, if I remember correctly. It was 182 days. Someone was on a work contract, so they were out here for that long, which is wonderful, which is great. And it happens all the time, like all the time. It just may not happen to you, or you may not just know about it because, you just don't know. In fact, little known fact right here, vacations, because most people sometimes they'll call them vacation rentals, right? Vacations is by far, even out here for me in Southern California, by far the smallest percentage of my customers. In fact, there are 45 other use cases that we have identified, i.e. reasons people need a short-term rental. And many of our students, and myself included, we choose to specialize in only 3 of them. What does that mean? That means there's opportunity left for everybody everywhere. And that's what's exciting about this particular business model and everything that we've got going today, which is probably why many of you are here, because you're excited about it and you're like, dude, I want more. Please, now, can you help me? And that's exactly why we're here, is to let you know that there is a place to not just be a hobbyist, but to actually be professional at it and earn, therefore, professional wages, right? Professional wages, whatever that looks like, to you. So, all right, let me see. Let's get a few more. Right. And how, yes, LaShawn, you are nailing it, because it's one thing to say that the average length of stay is 5.6 days, but how does that benefit the landlord? Well, and it's not obvious until you explain it. And then once you've explained it, then it goes, yeah, that's great. Right. And if you actually explain it in conjunction with, I don't know how often you clean your place, but now I'm going to clean this apartment and that apartment and every other apartment you give me every 5.6 days from top to bottom, including those places most the time we skip or miss. Yep, because I have to. And that becomes this whole another thing, which is really, really great, in my opinion, as it relates to what it is that we have to offer. So, yep, I agree with you, LaShawn. That is, just understanding these things, it's like, what? It's crazy. Yeah. Let's see. Dave says $5,000. Now, I'm motivated. That's good. He's like, I'm going to go back and watch those videos. That's a Good idea, Dave. Good idea. Love it. Oh, let's see. What is it? April says she wanted to use the information today, but the leasing agent didn't argue back. How dare you be so good that they have no questions? What are you talking about? Yes, I love it. Good job, April. Good job. Good job. Erwin says, I have a question on Vivint. Okay, got it. Is there a solution for, I'm assuming you mean power over Ethernet cables to prevent people unplugging, or should we even worry about this? Why? All right, I got an inquiry with no pictures. Got it. Okay, Erwin, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to quickly answer that and say, don't worry about it. And we don't need PoE, and ask it again on Saturday, because we can go all the way deep down on things like the security process for sure. Okay, so but ask it again on Saturday. Saturday, I believe, is 11 a.m. Pacific time. The banner, I don't know. I don't think the banner's been switched yet, but it will get switched so that you guys can see it. Tomorrow's at 4, Saturday's 11, and then you'll be able to see the banner for the additional times. In fact, we're going to begin introducing you to some of our students because, well, they got a story to share about how it's been effective for them, because I know it's one thing for me to be here and excited, and if we're just meeting, you're like, who's this dude? It is what it is. But at the end of the day, I'm excited for a reason, and it's mostly for you. Even though we've never physically met, you are actually the reason we're doing this. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. And got it. All right, cool. So let's go into what we're going to talk about today, because everybody should have their worksheets by now. Today we are talking about systems, right? Systems. Now, this is something that you probably have heard before in some way, shape, or form. And you're like, I have a system. Well, what does that actually mean to some degree? And one of the most important things that I have learned, I've had the privilege of interviewing, 400 or 500 different entrepreneurs across the globe at varying levels of success, everywhere from just now getting started to many billionaires, right? And this is who I end up talking to on the CashFlow Diary podcast. And and what's interesting is that because I ask many of them the exact same questions, what's interesting is to hear the difference between the answers relative to the level of revenue and things and impact that they have accomplished, right? So in fact, there's a number of billionaires who have been in Texas that have been, which probably surprises nobody, but that we've interviewed. And the guy who's coming to mind right now is Welcome Wilson. It's great gentleman. And just how he thinks about cash flow and industrial property and just the story of the hustle and how he's made it happen. Again, it's exciting. And when you think about, when you hear his story and you think about some of the things that are happening right now and how short-term rentals are coming to play, I can't help but see parallels. And it's really, really exciting to think about the future when I start thinking like that. So with that being said, when it comes down to it, though, let's try it this way. How many of you right now have talked to or are you've talked to a realtor, you are a realtor, or you talked to someone who's a traditional landlord and you've talked to them about short-term rentals? Like, give me a hands up emoji if you've actually talked to someone, because you've thought about this. You're like, man, this could be good. I don't really know. And then again, as a natural course of action, you go, hey, well, you know about real estate, right? And so what you do is you go talk to the person you think who would know. How many of you have done something like that? So just give me a little hands up emoji in the chat, because I'm a little curious to know who that is. Okay? Because there's something that I want to make sure that you guys understand that fundamentally is it's just not a good way to get the information that you're after. Okay. So because of that, what we are always in the process of doing is evaluating where we get our information from. Meaning, Evaluate me. Where are you getting your information from? For those of you who stick around towards the end, I've got something that I'm going to show you, because I also know that, systems can have a great impact on your life. And I'm going to show you some things of how it's impacted ours. All right. So let's see. What does that say? April. That was my first request to. Oh, got it. Keisha says, I'm here, but I need to catch up. No problem. Robin is holding up their hand. April is holding up. Got it. William is tagging Angel. Good job, William, trying to earn some extra points. Do property managers count? Yes. Talking to a property manager would also count, because again, they would be of a similar mindset. You made it, Ruth. Welcome back. Yes, myself and my friend, that's been a landlord for 30 years. Got it. Totally understood. Jason has done it. David has done it. Yeah, it's a norm. It makes sense to actually do that. Okay. To talk to the person, because they have a background in real estate. They've been around it. They should, quote unquote, know. That is the normal thought. Here's the challenge. If you talk to someone who runs a Costco, for example, and then you talk to someone who runs a Walmart, just think about those two companies for a second. Costco, Walmart. Or even better, Costco versus someone who has a vending machine route, right? Now, especially in this case, because that person probably gets their supplies from Costco. Costco thinks, what do they think about their business model? They like it, and it's great, because it is. What does the vending machine person often think about? They like it too, because it's great, and it is. But what does the vending machine person think about Costco, and what does Costco think about the vending machine person? See, I'm willing to put money on the fact that the Costco thinks the vending machine person is working too hard. It's too much work. Man, who wants to do all of that work when you could do it this way? This way is easier. And I'm willing to bet that the vending machine guy's like, that's probably great and all, but it's just too much money up front. There's a lot of risk involved in stocking all that stuff. I'm good. I'll just do, my little thing over here, and we'll just grow slowly. See, each person, they have their perspective on the other's business, and each one believes strongly that what they do is the best. And here's the challenge. When you, as a traditional landlord, go out to market, you are like Costco. You are a wholesaler. When you, like a short-term rental operator, go out to market, you're a retailer. Just like the vending machine person. Here's what I mean. Think about the vending machine guy. They'll go get, 24 cases of water? Thousands of candy bars at once? And then they resell them individually, and all they've done is change the placement and often packaging or presentation related to the very same product. You both are moving candy, you both are moving water, you're both a moving product, different channels, and therefore different benefits are accrue to each of you. Yet, you both like the business, all these things. You both make money. The difference is who your customer is and how they're using the product, and most importantly, the level of services that you're providing, and this is no different. You must understand. Most traditional landlords will say things like, oh yeah, you can make great money, but that's a lot of work. Those are the words you will hear. Because from their perspective, what they have been doing is they've been wholesaling 365 days at a time on one contract with the payment plan due every 30 days. That's what they've been doing. That's what they're used to. That's what makes sense. That's good enough for them. And now what I'm saying is you go retail. So good. What we're going to do is we're going to go sell 365 days. One day at a time. Very efficiently. The difference is in our ability to be efficient. That's it. That is what makes the difference. That's why we can charge more. We can charge more because we add more services and then we deliver it more efficiently and smaller bite-sized increments. Have you ever gone to Cheesecake Factory and like try to buy an entire cheesecake from them and then try to buy that same cheesecake by the slice? Same cheesecake, literally from the same kitchen. Price them out. You will see really quickly what I am talking about. It's insane. It's like coming from the same kitchen, and for whatever reason, if I bought it by the slice, I'm paying a lot more. Okay? This is no different. And our little slices are time. Here's what is different. The difference is understanding how on earth, Jay, can I deliver those small slices of time efficiently? Because when you are a traditional landlord, you know what it means to move someone out and move someone in. And that to you feels like a big, heavy weight, or it takes a long time. And if you hired a property manager, it still feels that way. Regardless, you got all these move-ins to do, and it feels like it takes over your day, and it's no fun. And then you got the inspection, and blah, 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 blah. And you've not developed a more efficient way to make that happen. Therefore, you keep doing it the same way until a more efficient way comes to market. And that's where you and I come in. See, remember what I said about teachers repeating themselves? Just remember that. See, it's the system that delivers the service. And that's the difference. In a wholesale or more traditional model, especially as it relates to real estate and space, it's people that tend to deliver the service. And now what we're saying is we want to figure out where can we, yes, cut our labor costs and yet not cut customer satisfaction. Where can we be more efficient? What can we do? Has anything changed since the way real estate was done was invented? Right? That's really the question here. And the answer is yes. Now, I'm going to get a little nerdy for you on a second, okay? A little nerdy. There's something called Jevons, Jevons, paradox. Jevons paradox. Feel free to look it up later. It's an economic term. What it simply means, and this is the biggest thing that is happening, you have seen this in action and you didn't even know it. You didn't even know it was happening, but it happened. And I'll explain it for a number of you. Here's what Jevons paradox is. It's very simple, very clear, very easy. As it becomes, as something, anything, a resource becomes more available, okay, or more efficient, what happens is that demand for that same resource actually goes up. Now, how much of it you may use on a personal basis goes down, but because it becomes more efficient to have access to it, demand for it goes up in the aggregate, in the whole, over a whole bunch of people. Let me say it this way and give you a very, very easy example.
Hello there, entrepreneur. This is Jay Massey, and what I want to say to you is that the number one mistake that I have ever made in business, number one, has been waiting too long to do the books, waiting too long to get the bookkeepers, the accountants, the CPAs, the CFOs involved, and I don't want you to make that same mistake. That mistake cost me over 6 figures, and now for a significant discount, you have the ability to get your books together using FreshBooks. So what I want you to do is I want you to go over to gofreshbooks.com/cashflowdiary. Again, that's gofreshbooks.com/cashflowdiary. FreshBooks is the easy to use software designed to help you, the small business owner, the freelancer, get organized and save time on invoicing, getting paid faster, keeping those books in order so that it becomes a bonus for you to do your taxes as opposed to a burden. Go over to gofreshbooks.com/cashflowdiary and get started today. And now let's get back to the rest of the story.
Now, I'm curious, have some fun with me. How many of you are old enough to remember those really large cell phones? Like the really, really big ones. You know, the ones that almost took 2 hands to hold. Oh my goodness. How would I, come on, be honest. Come on, give me a cell phone emoji in the chat. How many of you are willing to admit, okay, yeah, Jay, that I was there. I saw one once. I'm not, okay, yeah. In a magazine. Yeah, it was a magazine. Got it. Now, I'm not asking you, did you have it? I just want to know if you remember seeing it. See, there's a reason I'm saying this, okay? I'm saying this because today, though, think about this. How many people had that really gigantic cell phone, right? How many people had that? Not very many. And then manufacturing processes, technology comes into play. Long story short, it's way more efficient now to create the phones. And now we're buying a new phone every 12 months on a contract with easy upgrade, right? People, and here's the thing to really grasp. It's so efficient now. People in third world countries, people on government assistance, people otherwise, everybody who can, they have a cell phone. They may not have a computer. They may not have a laptop, but they got a cell phone because it became that efficient for people to distribute, for us to use, for us to manufacture cell phones. So think about a component in cell phones, like, I don't know, copper, gold, any precious metal or commodity. Here's my point. What happens is, even though we get more efficient with making it, so yes, on a per phone basis, we're using less of each of the metals, or we're using less of a particular product, or whatever, the demand for that product still goes up because now you're producing that many more phones. How many of you have noticed that there are more electric cars than there used to be? See, that's Jevons paradox. Have you noticed that? See, when I'm bringing this to your attention, that's what happens. Because as a network of the EV chargers and all this other stuff begins to get built, it gets more efficient. And now it's suddenly more convenient. And now suddenly everybody else wants one too. And then the demand for things like electric cars goes up. And all you got to do is look at the stock of certain companies like Tesla to see the proof. It's there. Okay? And Jevons paradox plays itself out in many different places all over the globe all the time. Why am I saying this to you? Why am I saying this now? Because what we do as short-term rental operators is we make real estate more efficient. That's what we do. We make the use of real estate more efficient. Think about how many places, how many physical locations go empty during the day. How many physical locations go empty when you go out of town? That's still space. The space could still be used, but it's not being put to its highest and best use at that particular moment. There's a metric in the real estate space known as utilization. And that's one of the wasteful things inside of when you own in a large apartment building is, you ever seen those large apartment buildings that have a tennis ball or like a racquetball court or tennis court or something, and no one's ever on it? Well, it still costs them money and it's being underutilized, and they have to manage every square foot to produce the most amount of revenue that they possibly can. Okay? Because, I don't know anyone who's ever said, you know what, I need to renew my lease here because they got a tennis court, but whatever, maybe someone did. Here's my point. What we do is we bring efficiency to the market. And when we bring efficiency to the market, the demand for that resource increases. And that's our little secret. That's what gets me so excited, is that I spend my time absolutely devouring every piece of technology, scouring the web, looking like if I go to CES, I might not come back. You know what I'm saying? The Consumer Electronics Show over in Vegas. I would never come back because I'm looking at each individual piece of technology, trying to find another way. Can I use this? Can we use that? How can we use this? Because the more efficiency we bring to the table, more revenue I can drive through our organization, and the more revenue I can I can drive through other people's organization by teaching them how to leverage everything that's out there on the market. So I get a lot excited about that because it is literally the key to the freedom that many of you and all of us seek. That's what it comes down to. It's literally understanding what I just said and how can I implement this today so that it brings more dollars to my door. What can I do, Jay? How do I bring more dollars to my door? This is how you do it. You put Jevon's paradox in your favor. Okay? Now, many of you also know that I am a father of 4 children. I'm going to go close my door because my son gets a little excited about his video games. One second. Hey, Justice? Justice, please close your door. Justice. Thank you. Woo! Wow. Okay. Yes. Children. Love it. All right. So let me see some of the comments. Yeah. What do we got going on? Yes, the Motorola, you guys are still talking about the cell phones. Yes, exactly. So you understand what I'm saying here. You've seen this happen, right? You've seen this happen. This is not new to you. So Root says the first flip phone weighed 10 pounds. Exactly. It doesn't anymore though, right? Do you know how many commodities it took to make that one phone? And now that same 10-pound phone is probably the same as 10 phones in terms of, efficiency, but the demand for the resources that put that phone together, whether that be knowledge, whether that be expertise, whether that be, just labor in general, went up. Okay, this is the key to your financial future is understanding Jevon's paradox and putting it in favor for you. So let's talk about it. In order to make that happen, because as a real estate professional, or especially when you're a long-term landlord, one of the reasons you don't like move-ins or move-outs is because there are a number of things that you have to do. You have to clean the place. You got to do any maintenance that needs to be done, any repairs. You got to replace stuff. You don't want to do it. You got to put a whole communication system together because you got to attract a new tenant, right? You got to do all of these things. And if there's multiple service providers, availability becomes an issue, and you have to run what is known as technically a Gantt chart. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about from the corporate world. Other of you, don't worry about it. But what I'm saying is all of those things have to get done. And you have to do that every time, and you dread it. And the only reason you dread it is because you don't have an efficient system to execute it. And what I am saying is if you did, you could increase your revenue. And what I'm saying to all of you is because a landlord is Costco, you and we go get to build a network of vending machines. And what we're divvying up are days at spaces we create. So, some of the systems that you need in place, I just hinted at them, but I'll say it again, is that you need a cleaning system, a way that when someone leaves, the stuff gets cleaned, whatever you've put inside your unit gets cleaned, because it's got to be there. A maintenance system, because I think I said this on day one somewhere, the doorknobs, they get trounced. They totally get trashed. They really do. But the other things that people think get trashed, not so much, but doorknobs have to be consistently maintained. Locks have to be consistently maintained. Windows as well. And then toilet seats, for whatever reason, come a little bit loose. So certain maintenance things like that, light bulbs being changed, etc., has to be done. And yes, things do break, obviously. So when, I've had chairs break, I've had, repair lamps, lamp shades, so you've got to have a repair system, which typically means in a repair situation, it's usually deeper than just come in with a screwdriver and fix it. There could be a repair such that it takes a specialized technician in some cases to actually effect that same repair. And then sometimes repair can't be done, so you need a replacement system. Something is broken. How can you take that out, put it to the side, and get a new version of it to come in? So here's a quick little tidbit. What I want you to do is that on your calendar, I want you to mark, I believe it's July 13th this year. I think it's July 13th. That is the tentative date for Amazon Prime Day. I know, it sounds crazy, right? You're literally marking, oh yeah, I am preparing for Amazon Prime Day because your boy gonna be buying knives, forks, dishes, cups, blenders, toasters, all of the things I know I'm going to need that occasionally get broken, Keurig machines. Yeah, I'm buying that stuff because I'm going to need them anyway, and I'm going to be able to get them 20, 30, 40% off or whatever, and it's going to matter because that'll show up later on the P&L, right? So I'm telling you now, part of my replacement system is literally building a sinking fund for Prime Day. Yes, it's coming. And I know that. All right. Then you need a communications system as well, because this is the first place, especially when people are beginning short-term rental operators, this is the first place that they begin to experience pain because the volume of communication is a little more than what some people bargained for at the beginning, right? You just didn't know what you didn't know. And then you're suddenly like, oh my, this is amazing. I have no idea how to serve these people. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it can feel overwhelming, or you can feel tied to your phone, which in a lot of cases happens. And then you need an availability system, because as a professional operator, for those of you who become professional operators with us, one of the things you will understand is you're not just managing one calendar. You're managing multiple calendars per location you operate. What do I mean? Most of the time, and very rare exceptions, we tend to recommend that people start out with Airbnb. Now, let me tell you why. It's not because they're going to make you the most money. It's not even because they're going to somehow give you the best guests. That is not it. What they have is the best system for customer acquisition. They currently have the best system for customer acquisition. Period. There is not even a close second. Okay? Not even a close second. For those of you here on day one, you remember that video I showed you where that graph was going up steep and Marriott was concerned? See, the reason that graph, that angle is so steep, is because they have the best system. Airbnb currently has the best system for customer acquisition. And because they have the best system for customer acquisition, they're usually the easiest ones to get started with. And I tend to say it's like having training wheels on, which is fine. So there are two things you should hear when I say Airbnb has the best system. One of them you should hear very loud and clear, because remember what I said about what happens with efficiencies. With efficiencies, certain things get driven down, like expenses. Okay? So expenses get driven down, typically making something cheaper for the consumer. Let me say it a different way. Airbnb is often the platform where you will actually earn the least on. The least. Now, in a moment, I'm going to show you what that means and what that looks like. Okay? So Airbnb is often the place you will earn the least on because they have the most efficient system, which means for the consumer, they're able to typically provide the best price. Here's the other thing you should also hear. That means, Jay, are you saying that if I can also learn to put my availability somewhere that is less efficient, that if I operate efficiently inside a less efficient system, that I might be able to make more profit. That's exactly what I'm saying. 100%. Nearly every other platform, HomeAway, Booking.com, Expedia, Travelocity, and guys, there's so many that you just haven't even heard of, okay? And here's what happens. Go on other platforms, they don't have as efficient of a system, so you better understand what systems they're missing so that you can put them in place. And because their system is not as efficient, the pricing is usually higher. Customer typically pays more. Yes, I am talking to every one of you. If you've gone to Booking.com, I am certain you paid more than almost every other platform, to be honest. Okay, I am certain you paid more. Like, it's not even a question. It's not even a doubt. You could have got the same place for less money. And here's the funny part, okay? Booking.com, the parent company is called Booking Holdings, and they know this, okay? This is how much they know this. A number of booking holding companies, I can't believe I'm about to say it, okay. A number of booking holding companies, so we're talking about systems, they know this. A number of booking holding companies. So let's just say, I'll just leave the names out, but we've got Booking Holdings at the top. Under their umbrella, they've got Company A, Company B, Company C, Company D, Company E, Company F, G, H. So it becomes an overwhelming number of choices. And then they get a little wise and go, oh, we have too many choices and people aren't going to go to 7 different sites to look for their availability. I know what we'll do. We'll make our availability system a little bit more efficient. We will build a completely separate site, brand it a completely different way. And you know what? We'll tell them that on this site, you can choose from any one of these 7 locations. And then you go here and you can get your best price guaranteed. And they don't care which of the 7 you choose. Because not only do they own the 7, they own the one you're looking at too. Oh, the things you find out when you go through this process of putting together an efficient system. So just understand that all they did there was leverage an availability system and make it easy. Because see, what is missing for you and I, the average Joe, if you will, is just understanding that this is a 24/7 business. It's like 24/7 all the time. And oftentimes you can only, you say, well, I only want to work 8 to 5. And I say, great. Just remember, it is always 8 to 5 somewhere on the planet. So long as you're willing to remember that, great. But it's always 8 to 5 somewhere. And if that somewhere is, if you are where that person wants to come, they're expecting you. For you to make the maximum amount of profit, you need to be available. Because if you're not, you're gonna lose. Because you don't have an efficient system. You don't have an efficient communication system in that place. You may be able to tell them, yes, my place is available. But what happens when they have a question? What do? Now, here's the good news. With today's technology, yes, there's artificial intelligence. There's machine learning. There are algorithms, and they're wonderful until they're not. Because at some point, humans will ask a question that the algorithm and machine learning and the AI just can't answer. And therefore, the sales process stops dead. And now you are back in your inefficient mode. And you are competing for efficiency. So what we do is that every day of the week, whether it's a holiday or not, 24/7, whether I'm awake or not, We respond in less than 7 minutes at any time of day. And yes, we're assisted by technology, but we can even have a human give you a response as well. Less than 7 minutes, 24/7, every day of the week, without fail. If that was the only thing that was more efficient, do you realize your revenue would go up simply because the customer feels served faster? In fact, here's an experiment. Here's what I want you to do. Okay, consider this homework for fun. All right, so let us know how it goes, because we're gonna have a little homework tab, right? Here's your homework. Go to any of the platforms, really don't care which one. And in fact, the more inefficient the platform, the more ridiculous this gets. Go make an inquiry. I don't care how many days, none of that matters. The only thing I do care about is that it's make an inquiry that is at least 30 days from today. Okay, 30 days from whatever day you're watching this right now. Make an inquiry. And it's going to sound like a lot of work, but it's going to prove my point. I want you to choose 10 different operators, not 10 different locations, because some locations are some locations are operated by the same operator. I want you to choose 10 different operators. It's the only way this works. And I want you to see how fast, well, first, how many actually respond and how fast you actually get a response. Those of you who have tried to find a place to stay using a short-term rental already know where this is going. You will quickly see how inefficient many people are already operating. It'll just be obvious. You will wait hours in some cases. Hours. Many hours. And when you are shopping or someone is shopping, when someone needs a place to stay, there's only so long that they can wait. And hours is what we're talking about here. Sometimes days, if at all, in terms of a response. So a simple thing you can do is just be more responsive. But you can't be responsive when you're asleep. So therefore you need a system to deliver service. Remember what I said. It's the system that delivers the service, not you. Most people fail right there because they think, how can I can't do that. I know you can't do that. You need a system that does. And you have to put it together piece by piece, bit by bit. Well, I don't have enough money to afford a system. Then build a bigger business. Because understand, this business specifically is harder the smaller you are. The larger you get, the more units, the more bedrooms, the easier this business gets. Part of the reason I can sit here today and talk to you is because of the number of beds, bedrooms, and units that we have in service right now. That's part of the reason. Because inside the system, it pays for the people who take care of everything that is, whatever is happening, it's being taken care of. And I'm reasonably certain something is happening because something is always happening. If that makes sense. So, because something is happening, and I know it's going to happen, build a system that can support whatever's happening, which in this case means, it just automatically means it's got to be bigger than just you. You have to provide more value to the marketplace than just the value you can provide. It has to be bigger than you. That thinking is part of how you begin to unlock 5-figure paydays, 6-figure success, and 7-figure freedom. That's how, right? Now, I'm curious. We've got a few more things to go through, but I'm curious for those of you in the chat, when it comes to the idea of having a 6-figure business, give me a couple of dollar signs or something that shows me that's something that you've been wanting or something that you've been after or would like. That's a 6-figure business in some way, shape, or form. I just want to see a couple of those. Hey, son, what are you doing?
I was playing
okay.
virtual reality.
I need you to close the door. Thanks. All right. So let me see. What's this? So the last day of the summit will all be about shopping. I don't know where that was. Oh, got it. Yes, right. Sarah, yeah, you put that together. Right. So some of you, she's like, what is she talking about? Sarah knows that we do a live event. We call it the Summit. And yes, I saw that too. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, the last day of the summit is currently technically supposed to be Amazon Prime Day. That was not done intentionally. It's just kind of interesting. I thought that was funny too. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Yeah, we can help each other find the sales. Say, what is this? Ruth says she loves VRBO. I get paid more money every time. And again, it's because Ruth has discovered it's a less efficient system. Period. It's not anything other than their system is less efficient. Let's see. Let me see. What does it say? About Booking.com. Isn't that like one company owning Hudson's department store, Marshall's? Yes. And yes. It is. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that one company serving all the different demographics. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just trying to bring it to everyone's attention that this is what's going on. And we've got to put things like Jevons paradox into our favor, right? Instead of just being consumers of it, how can I be producers along with it? And that's really what it comes down to. So why not just hitch your wagon to Airbnb and identify as that, leverage their technology and name recognition? Yeah, absolutely. That's a great place to start. And I want you to grow beyond that, because when you grow beyond that, this is a great place to start. Then, you just want to grow beyond that. Everyone starts there, but there comes a point where you just learn some of the things that they're doing, they being Airbnb are doing, and you learn other ways to provide better value. Remember, Jevons paradox will continue to exist. So if you can find a more efficient way to deliver the same service, then you win. And that's really what this is about, So there are still inefficiencies in Airbnb's business model. One of them being the service fees that they tend to charge and how they charge them and all that interesting stuff. So, what does it say? Why don't Airbnb tell you how much they actually charge the guests? They do. You can. It's not that it's hidden. It's not that it's hidden. You can find out literally to the penny exactly what your guests paid. And oftentimes when you do, that's when you kind of throw up inside your mouth a little bit like, oh my God, like what? Because there have been times where my payout for, 1, 2, or 3 days, which was great, mind you, could have been $400 or $500 or something. And yet the guest says, yeah, I paid $1,000 for this reservation. I'm like, excuse me? I don't understand. And then when we look up the history, like, oh, now I understand. My bad. You did pay $1,000. I see why you think it's $1,000 reservation, even though it's really not. And those things are 100% there. It's inefficiencies. This is how they show up in the marketplace. And yes, so Robin likes the idea of a 6-figure. Sarah, April, LaShawn, Susan likes a lot. Jason, you got the idea. Hope you have extra bandwidth for July 14th. Yeah, me too. What about your own website? Yes, Jason, you are 100% accurate, but this is not where you start. Okay, this is just not where you start. Yes. Eventually, learning to take your customers is what I call taking your customers direct, will do 2 things. It allows you to deliver the same service more efficiently because you can now charge your customer less and yet increase your profit at the same time. Because whereas the fees and the extra things that are being charged by the platforms like Airbnb, Booking.com, all this other stuff, you can cut into that number. See, they've conditioned your customer to pay a much higher price because they've been paying on the platform. Now, you and we can give them a reason to come to us directly. And when we have enough units, when we've built enough of an infrastructure, we come out ahead. When you try to do too many systems too soon, you actually slow your growth down. That's for those of you who've got like 1 listing, maybe 2, and you're trying to be on 3, 4, 5, 12 different platforms. Yeah, don't do that. right? Don't do that. But my point is hopefully made and clear. Okay. So yeah, at some point, Jason, that's exactly where it's headed. Direct business is where you want to be. It's where most of the money is. Okay. But at the same time, you can do mighty fine until then. Okay. So I don't want to give you any other impression other than to say, even if you're not efficient, it doesn't mean you won't make money. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't even mean you won't like the money you're making. I'm just saying you can even be more efficient than you have been. So here's something. I want to show you guys something that, where to go? Let me see. Let's take that away. So here's something that I want to show you because efficient systems matter. Is this the one? Nope. Let me see. Is this it? Yep. There we go. All right. So let me do this angle right there. That should do it. Perfect. So what we're looking at, wrong way. So what you're looking at right there is the effect of an efficient system. That's what that is. That is the effect of an efficient system. That is also 6 figures like I was talking about earlier, but I don't know if you've noticed, that's also 30 days, not a year. That's what I get excited about. It's being able to put together an efficient system that can do that. Now, it's one thing to do that in a 30-day period, but let me underscore this a little bit more. I told you very directly, Airbnb is where you will earn the least amount of money. What the number you're looking at is Airbnb revenue only. And it's Airbnb revenue for what is during one of our lowest seasons. Okay? Which means during the high season, it's really, really even more awesome. And that's still profitable. And you're not seeing the Airbnb, the Booking.com, the HomeAway, the direct revenue at all at this particular moment. That is not what you're seeing right now. Okay. And I'm just being very clear, very transparent about it. But that's not what's impressive. Here's, to me, what matters is that takes less than 1 hour a day because the system is efficient. Because the system is efficient, it takes less than 1 hour a day, which means there's no need to take time off for vacation, which means it's kind of like being on vacation every day, which also means I'm investing and spending. I've spent more time with you guys here this week and over the next few days than I have my own short-term rental business. Just being transparent. That's what happens when you begin to apply Jevons paradox into your favor. Not doing this is where you lose and cost yourself opportunity. So I know that there's a number of you've done short-term rentals before. You're doing it now and it's great. And it feels like, oh, I'm doing great. I'm earning money. Awesome. Congratulations. I appreciate you for going out there and making it happen because being an entrepreneur is not always easy. Period. But you're doing it. And I commend that because some people are sitting at home afraid. And now I'm just going to ask you one simple question. Is Jevons paradox working in your favor? If it's not, be honest and just type a no in the chat. If it is, great. If not, though, be honest and just type a no in the chat. Because when you begin to put it in your favor, you don't, just because you add more units doesn't mean you're adding more time. That's the difference. It's leveraging the cleaning, maintenance, repair, replacement, communications, and availability systems that are available today so that you don't add more time, but you can add more revenue. You can add more profit. You can add more jobs. You can add the things that absolutely matter to humans and the economy. Okay. And that's what I'm doing this to underscore that some of you may have thought that what you're doing is, fun little hobby. And maybe it is, and that's fine. But for those of you who want to make it serious, this is what gets me excited, is being able to put people in a position to where their income to time ratio is 100% out of whack. Nowhere in high school, college, any of the things that I have done, was I ever told, because I remember I asked my math teacher, hey, if I learn this, can I make 6 figures? Now, at the time, I meant 6 figures a year. And she said, yes. So I learned math. I did a lot of math. I did more math than most people should know, And I've also learned that I didn't have to do that. I have to provide value, and I didn't have to do that. Okay? And learning to provide value to the marketplace at scale efficiently is how it's done. It's not a one-time event. It's not a weekend event. It's a transformation in thought. It's a transformation in actions. It's a transformation that takes place over time. And unfortunately, in the real estate space, we will often try to do it at a weekend boot camp or something. And it just takes more than that. This is why you don't have an Airbnb business. This is why it just takes more than what some people and many people often think. Yes, I know the opportunity is easier today, and that's amazing. Yes, I know. And here's the best part. The selling system is done. That's what they built. Airbnb built a great selling system. Booking.com's got a great selling system. If you've ever been in sales and you're like, yeah, I can sell, but I'm inconsistent, that goes away here, because once that sucker is up, you just, yeah, if you do it right, money just keeps happening. It's kind of cool. And you have a system in place. But if you don't, it feels like a job. It feels like a task. It feels like, oh my God, another guest. That's a sign your system is broken. When you feel that way, your system is broken. Okay? Because you need to, here's the thing I'm really trying to communicate today. Let me see where to go. Yep. You can have, like, many of the things that I am saying to you, Airbnb and some of the tools you guys know, your smart B&Bs and your Slack, your Trello, and all of this stuff. I can say those things all day long. I have no qualms about you knowing what tools I'm using. But here's why. Because, see, the ROI of a tool depends on who's using it. Let me say it differently. A basketball, regulation size basketball, in my hand has a different ROI than the basketball being in the hands of Giannis Antetokounmpo. And if you don't know who that is, I'll say Michael Jordan. Okay. The ROI is different. Like, even retired Michael Jordan, the basketball in his hand has a much higher ROI than in mine. Same is true with all of the technology, the tools, and everything else that's available in the marketplace. Until you're taught the way we used to do it with the apprenticeship model, it's kind of hard to increase the ROI, your ROI, on the tool. And the challenge today, part of the biggest challenge today, is that we have access to information. And what we need is an evolved form of apprenticeship in order to transfer some of these skills. A plumber doesn't become a plumber just because they read the book, and that's not how it works. You apprentice. An appraiser, they have that process. There are many professions. Doctors do years of practice under the tutelage and study of someone else, because what they do is important, so important, they must spend years studying under someone else so that they can get it right as many times as they do, and they still make mistakes, but they have to keep doing it. Yet when we get over to the real estate world, we think we can read a book, watch video, and we're good. And this just ain't true. And it's you don't get more exposed than in this business when you try to go it alone. So that's not to say the information's not out there. You can Google a lot of stuff. In fact, I think tomorrow, one of the things we're going to be talking about is the things you can't Google. And still, so think of it as insider secrets. The things you can't Google and you still got to get them done that we have figured out to get done. Because there's just some things you can't Google that. You would never know. But yet, that's what it is. So you can have great tools. That's wonderful. I want you to have good tools, because you should. But if you can own those expert tools, but the ROI, unless you know how to use an expert tool expertly, it's not the same. It's not the same. I don't care how familiar you are with the tool. And that's what makes the difference, is being able to invest time in learning how to use all of these tools in combination to be able to achieve a particular result. That's how the airplane takes off. Because they're using a ton of tools to get you and I from point A to point B using a very, very expensive piece of equipment. That's how it's done. That's how it's always been done. And that's what must happen more for us as entrepreneurs. We must have that system, because see, inside the apprenticeship system comes accountability. Because the guy you're working with, they know, hey, where you been? Why have not you can't practice at this once a month and think you're going to become good. You got to keep showing up, especially on the days you fail. When you don't feel like it. If you're willing to take this business and practice it just like professional athletes do, you can earn professional athlete money, sure, all day long. But you won't. There is no faking it till you make it. Not on this. What does that mean? Initially, you have to put in more time up front. But the cool news is you'll put in more time up front so that you can work less later. That's what'll happen. You will work way less later. Because I just told you, because of the work we put in up front, I have the privilege of serving you this way and many thousands of other people, which is exciting for me, that I get to do this. My kids see me way more, probably more than they want, because I'm always home, because I don't have to be anywhere unless I choose to be. And that's a gift, because we continue to provide so much value to the marketplace. So another way of looking at this is trying to understand how much value are you providing to the marketplace. See, when you have one unit, just one, what you are doing is every month you're providing 30 days of value. Excuse me. So what does that mean? What would happen if you had 2 units? Now you have 60 days of economic value. Interesting. So what happens if you had 12 units? Because see, if you have 12 units, then that means every month you are delivering a year's worth of economic value. So I have said before, and I say again, when it comes down to it, when I say, think about your income last year, whatever that top line revenue number is, whatever business you're in, think about that number. Okay. Now that you've got that number, think about that number happening every month. That's the first change. See, that's an exciting feeling for many of us, right? And even if you're a college student right now and you got like $20,000 a year, you're like, cool, $20,000 a month, you feel free and you're smiling right now. And as humans, we can often figure out how to earn more money and provide more value. We can often figure that out. The challenge is we keep trading our time to do it. Secret is how to do that and do what I'm talking about. Have it take 1 hour per day. That's exciting. That's transformational. And that's a process that can happen to all of us. And it just takes time in order to make that happen. So that's a lot of why systems are so important. Constructing them, refining them, building them in the first place, getting used to running them, right? It's one thing to know, like I said, knowing about something, knowing that it exists, that's one thing. Owning it and having it in your possession is another. Learning to manipulate it professionally to generate a particular result, that's another level, right? And that's what has happened with all of our cell phones. That's what has happened with technology like Airbnb and Booking.com and HomeAway and all of these things. See, you didn't realize how revolutionary. See, here's another case of Jevons paradox. You didn't realize how revolutionary it was when Apple made the App Store. Understand, that's one of the inflection points that puts us here today. Is the App Store, which therefore means the iPhone, which therefore means, do you see what's happening? There are certain inflection points that puts us here today, and all it is Jevons paradox at play. And this entire business model is along the lines of helping you and I put it to our advantage. But you've got to do the work and begin to understand how important systems are. Oftentimes we want to run straight to the cash and how can I make some money this weekend? Oh, that's wonderful. You did that, but what did you sacrifice along the way? And how can you build a sustainable system so that you can know how valuable your time really is? How valuable your time really is. Okay. So don't forget what your homework is. Remember, I need you to go to 10 different operators. 10 different operators. Put in an inquiry. That doesn't mean you're going to stay there. It's fine. Just put in an inquiry. Trust me, we're used to y'all flaking on us after you inquire. It's all good. Put in an inquiry. 10 different operators. Come back tomorrow because I want to know how many of you did this. And more importantly, how many responses did you get? How long did it take to get those responses? Because see, that's just one of many points that separates the amateur from the professional. And tomorrow, some of the things that we're going to talk about are, like I said, the things that you can't Google, the things that the professional is leveraging, the things that the professional knows that the amateur doesn't. And because the professional knows and understands them, he or she earns way more money and gets the best customer first. Period. We're also going to talk about the giveaways. So for those of you who have been participating, uploading the homework, hey, don't forget, tomorrow you're going to hear what they are. And as I said, one of you are going to be able to win something worth, well, its value is way more than $5,000, but we'll say $5,000. Okay? So that you just have an understanding. $5,000. And then so much more. Also, tomorrow we're going to begin we're going to begin, especially over the weekend, begin to introduce you to some of our community members. So I want you to keep coming back. Saturday is the Q&A. We're going to change the banner to let you know what's going on Sunday, Monday, and we are all done on Tuesday. And as a reminder, Tuesday, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time, for those of you in Hawaii and elsewhere, all of this information comes down. So if you haven't watched it, get I don't know what you're waiting on. Go make it happen. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a few more questions from the chat, and then we will be done momentarily. So let me go look over here and see what we got. Yes. Yep. Jason is asking, he says, what about your own website after you develop a good base of return customers? So Jason, you are actually dipping your toe into one of the critical pieces here. See, your booking.coms, your Travelocities, HomeAways, et cetera, those sites, I call them marketplaces and or your method of customer acquisition. You pay a customer acquisition fee. The goal is to pay that one time. And that's the agreement. Leverage them, especially when you're beginning, to get your customer. Now that your customer is present, your job is to get them to like you so much, to have such a great time that they want to only stay with you, that they feel like you made the place specifically for them, that they know, I come here all the time. This has never happened before. I am only staying with you because this is a great experience. That's your job, is to get them to now come direct. Okay, so pay Airbnb their fees, pay Booking.com their fees, pay whatever the fees are. Just pay them one time. And over time, you'll build, okay, this book of business that has repeatability to it. See, some of you, you're in marketplaces, and depending on what marketplace you're in, here's part of the challenge. Part of the challenge is understanding how to operate with certain ordinances and these types of things that are in play. Okay, see, I'm not blind to those things. We just invest our time figuring out how to operate within them and helping our students do the same. But because you're in a marketplace that requires a minimum 30-day stay, that doesn't mean this is not for you or it can't be done. It's just different marketing. It's really like the big thing. That's the super secret. Just different marketing. You have a longer lead time for that person to find you. That's the big difference. And once you've been operating a year, it gets easier. And once you've been operating 2 years, it also gets easier because many of the people who you had the first year are coming back and you're still collecting new people. The first year, the hardest way to do this business is the first year with one unit. It's not any harder. It is the most anxiety ridden. It is the worst. First year, one unit, you will stress often. Period. And it gets easier because when you have more units, you can bring on help. You can build a better system. It's the system that delivers the service. And you can do things like what Jason is talking about here, because you can build that base of return customers and you can do more of that fun stuff. There's a reason Vegas sends you $20 room coupon this weekend. There's a reason. Because maybe they acquired you the first time some other way. But now that you're in their database, they market to you directly. And they make more money, even though they charge you less. See? It's been happening this entire time. You and I just now have an opportunity to make it happen for us instead of to us. Let me see. Christian, I have a house now. I want to do Airbnb. My partner thinks it's not worth it. And Christian, it may not be worth it. However, come back tomorrow. One of the things that we're going to do is we're going to give you a number of points that will help you understand if, in this case, that house, any location you're looking at, is quote unquote worth it. See, that's one of the things you can't Google, right? You just can't Google that stuff because you can't, because you don't know. And it takes an understanding of someone else's viewpoint and an apprenticeship again in order to get it right. You can't just Google all of the it's not a lack of information. It's just not. Okay. It's just so not. But Christian, when you come back tomorrow, do me a favor. There's a couple of things I would like to know. Not that it's overly important. If you're in the US, that would help. So it would be helpful to know the city. If you're not in the US, it's still fine. I just still definitely now I really, really, really need to know the city. So that I can look up some stuff real fast when you come back. So that'll be great. Don't tell me now because I'll forget. Promise. And but when you come back, just let me know the city. And also, I'm curious to know things like the square footage and number of bedrooms, because that will help me tremendously to know to ask you more of the correct questions or it's not necessarily correct, but pertinent questions that will actually help you to be able to determine that. So invite your partner back. You guys come back and we'll find out if it's worth it or not. Okay. And that's one of the things, Christian, that I want to display. I want to help you understand. Let me ask, and although I'm talking to Christian, everyone, ask yourself this question. And in fact, if your answer is yes, just type a yes in the chat. It's very simple. The real question is, let me go back here. I think this is it. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So Christian, look if you wanted a 6-figure business, would that number qualifies, but that's what I'm showing you is 30 days. Okay. Now, to you tell me, I don't know, you tell me, would it be worth it? What if it took you 4 years? And let's pretend it takes you 4 years, but you got to start every day. You got to apprentice every day. You got to study every day. But 4 years from now, that's possible for you on a monthly basis. 4 years from now, it's possible for you on a monthly basis, and it only take you an hour a day to do it. 4 years from now, you now have the option, because this is one of the double-edged swords. When my wife and I, when we go somewhere, when she likes the place that we've gone, like recently we went to Philadelphia, and then she's still talking about Miami. I don't know what you guys did with the food down there, but she's still talking about it. Anyway, when we go somewhere, when she likes it, she'll say, we don't have to go back home. And she's right. Except, we got kids, so we come back home. But my point is being able to do this because you're location independent. If it took you 4 years, would that be worth it? The reason I'm saying that to you, Christian, and everyone else is simply because I'm doing my best to be very transparent about the fact that it's not going to happen in a weekend, and it can happen over time if you're willing to do the work over time. If you make that kind of a commitment, if you're thinking it's going to just boom, yay, I'm done. That is no. I don't know. This is no. I don't have any other way to say it. The answer is no. Okay. Can it happen? Yes. Have we helped people to make it happen? Yes. Will we be letting you guys know what that looks like? Of course. And along the way, we're going to continue to provide massive value because we want that to happen for you regardless of what you choose to do. I hope you bring them back so that I can have a chance at maybe helping it be worth it. And that's really what it comes down to. And if it took you 4 years to be able to do that, would it be worth it? What if it took you 5, 6, 7? You tell me, when is it not worth it? That's really the question. When is it not worth it? If that's the path you're on. And that's the thing that we all have to consider when we start thinking about, is something worth it? Because we have to ask one of the most important questions. You ready? You want to write this one down? Simply, compared to what? Compared to what? What else do you have, Christian, or your partner have, that could start you on the journey to earning 6 figures a month? And if you have something, a plan that can do that or more, then yeah, you're right. Now it's not worth it 100%. But if you don't have anything to compare it to, that's kind of also an interesting question to be thinking about. I'm with you though, and we'll do what we can to bring you along should you choose to follow. Okay. John says direct bookings rock, and I know why he says that, because he's right. And Olympia says 30 days. Yes, 30 days. 30 days. 30 days and just Airbnb. Okay. So let that sit for a second. Okay. I didn't add in or show you the HomeAway, direct bookings, and all the other stuff. 30 days. That's what's, crazy. and 1 hour a day. Income to time ratios, crazy. Kendall, thank you for being transparent and honest. Jason, thank you for the same. John Williams says this is absolutely true. I could add 5 units today and it would not add any more time commitment. We listen to the training and implement. 100% true. And that's the difference, is the systems. It's not just knowing what tools is there. Jason says he is good. My instinct is you're talking about Jesus, but I don't really know. So if there's something more to that, Jason, please let me know. What systems do we need in place? Okay, yes, you're thinking I missed something on the sheet. Nope, I'll do it again. You need a cleaning system, a maintenance system, a repair, replacement, communications, and availability. I'll say it again. Cleaning, maintenance, repair, replacement, communications, and availability. You must have all of those things working as smoothly as humanly possible in order to get your workload down to 1 hour a day. And to do that, because if you don't do that, you are working harder than you have to. Okay, so let me say it differently. For those of you who have made some money, and you're like, ooh, I'm doing great, I don't need nothing. Great, fine, totally understood. If you're working an hour a day, then great, keep doing that. If you're working more than an hour a day, come back tomorrow and the next day and get caught up on all the other stuff. Because I'd like for you to only work an hour a day. Because here's what I know. Most of the time, you've got something more important to you that you would rather be doing. And I want to enable people to do that. So, the systems you need in place, one more time, it is, cleaning, maintenance, repair, replacement, communications, and availability. Type your question in chat because we will be done here shortly. Furnished or unfurnished lease. Got it. Justin, again, we'll talk more about this tomorrow for sure, but you don't want a furnished lease. You just don't want that to build the system that I am talking about. Because see, when you take sorry. I'm laughing because the example that came up in my head was kind of funny and also gross. Meaning, now, first of all, I'm not saying McDonald's makes a great hamburger, but there's a reason that there are certain ingredients that they source themselves and they don't go, great, this guy can package that together so we can get there's a reason that inside of their ultimate value chain and all of the creation and everything that they do, there's a reason that they have standards of the quality of, and it sounds weird to say words like quality in reference to McDonald's, but they've got quality standards for everything. And there's a reason for that, because what they're trying to have a predictable result on the other end, because that affects their brand, right? And the same is true for you and I. See, there's a thing that I'm going to tell you tomorrow that you couldn't Google that affects this 100%. And now that's not to say, can you get started? Yeah, absolutely. You can get started with somebody, with someone else doing the front. Absolutely. Not saying that. I'm saying if you want the most sustainable, longest lasting, strongest, reputable business, that's not the way to get started. You're starting on shaky ground. But yeah, you could go get started. This is back to what I was saying before, the difference between trying to do a quick cash grab versus build a sustainable business. Yeah. And that's the difference. There are certain things you just can't shortcut. Then now, does that mean you can't lease furniture? No, it doesn't mean that. It means the difference is with you leasing furniture, you're still making choices and control. Okay, there's a way to lower your startup costs. There's all kinds of ways. And but giving up the control over the quality of certain pieces of furniture, not to your brand's best advantage for many reasons, because you lose control over repair, replacement, maintenance in a lot of cases. And that could be a problem. And it will show up in your reviews. Cashflow Diary. Oh, got it. It's cashflowdiary.com homework-upload. Homework-upload should be the URL to upload your homework. I thought it was home. Yes, it is. Kindle, if you're doing short-term rental within an apartment building, that's pretty much what I do. Shouldn't the major repairs and even maintenance items within the apartment, toilet, shower, sink, etc., be covered by the landlord, leasing office, per lease, or are you still responsible? Got it. So the major repairs, so in general, the major repairs are still going to be there. There are certain things you want to maintain control over. Back to the question that I think it was Kindle just asked. It's just, and it's because it's a very similar reason. Is sometimes the landlord you're working with doesn't have the capability of responding with the efficiency you require. And you're the one who pays the price, not them. So you need to know that. Remember, we are operating in the inefficiencies. It's because we are being more efficient. That's what creates the value to the marketplace and allows us to take what was wholesaling 365 days at once and collecting it 30 days at a time on one contract to selling 365 days. And if we really, really want to be crazy, one day at a time on 365 contracts. Like that would be crazy. Don't do that. But if, that's what I'm saying. And it's those inefficiencies that matter. One of those inefficiencies, it can be in the landlord's maintenance system. That doesn't mean they're not responsible. It means you need to be responsible to your customer more. You need to be set up. Because the one thing your customer isn't not going to tolerate. They're just not going to tolerate certain things not working in some way, shape, or form. And even if they're nice and gracious about it, they're going to review you about the experience. And that review, it's going to matter. So you need to protect your business by maintaining control over the things that matter, like response time. When it comes to maintenance and getting certain things done. Because sometimes the real challenge is not that they don't have the ability to respond, they have the inability to update you or communicate what is going on. And that's really frustrating. So there are many reasons why I'm saying what I'm saying. Again, it's based upon not guessing, but thousands of guests and thousands of reservations. That's really what it comes down to. Thank you for the recordings until Tuesday. I'm still at work, sneaking to hear and watch you. I appreciate your transparency and honesty, LaShawn, and you're doing it because that work you're doing, you clearly don't want to do. And I commend you for being that way. And we also know that there's a number of people like you. In fact, the system that we run, design, was intended. It was intentionally designed the way it is for those of you who want to actually keep your job. I know that might be like half of you. I got it. 0.5, like not even a whole person. But my point is, so think about this. When designing the system, what goes through my head is, all right, the person who wants to quit their job, they're all in. That's great. But what about the person who wants to keep it? They still have all of these time constraints. They want to pick up the kids. They want to do this. They want to do that. How can I make it? This is about to make a whole lot of sense to you. How can I make it so that on their lunch break, and how long is your lunch break? How can I make it so that on their lunch break, they can still run this business? See, it's literally designed so that if you actually want to keep your job, you can. And if you want to let it go, you certainly can. So that's part of the reason it's going to be up, because not everybody was able to get caught up. Some of you just got tagged today and you're like, oh my God, what is this? Where's this been? So we totally understand. But that's also why you need to tag a friend, bring them here, because you've been sitting around the water cooler talking to girl, one day it's going, today is that day. All right. So, See, I thought it was okay. You guys are still talking about that dang money. I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. Oh yeah, exactly, Jason. You understand? Yes. See, Jason understands who's Giannis Antetokounmpo is because he's a. Oh my God, guys! I've never seen anybody this size be able to do the things that he can do on a basketball court. It is like it feels wrong in a lot of ways, but Giannis is insane. And the ROI of a basketball in his hand is way more than mine. And that's really what I'm trying to say. So I missed the part right after the systems. You have to remember that. Okay, so let's go back. Let's make sure that David can do the homework. You have to remember that. Oh, got it. You have to remember, because like I said, I've said it many times. Many times people tell me that I only want to work 8 to 5. Okay, cool. You can work. That's fine. I don't have a problem. Even in this business, it's possible. Here's what you have to remember. That this business is 24/7 and that it's always 8 to 5 somewhere on the planet. So you're kind of only working 8 to 5. You just didn't really say what time zone, because, that's really what it comes down to. You have to be cognizant of that. If you want to compete. Now, if you're just here for a hobby or just one unit, knock yourself out, do whatever you want. You want to maximize return. You want to put Jevons paradox in your favor. You want to make this thing real. Okay, we can help. Let's see. The security systems, absolutely. Yes, those are, anyway. Yes, those are there. They're actually part of under communications, because here's part of the challenge. Susan, what's the word? Many people believe they have a security system, but that security system doesn't talk. Because the ordinance may say, here's a very easy example. The ordinance says you have to have a smoke detector. Okay, you can go get a smoke detector, Home Depot, Amazon, $9. Done. You've complied with the ordinance. The insurance says you have to have a smoke detector. Check. And you have to keep a log of how many times you have checked it, and that you have checked it when you check it. So like a literally initial log. Now, some of you just learned that, oh my God, I'm not doing that. I'm probably violating one of the covenants of my insurance. Yep, that's very true. Next, though, is how do you keep that log? And that's a whole process. Well, and that process is going to cost money, time, effort, energy in order to maintain and make it happen. You're like, I'll just tell my cleaner to do it. Cool. That's still money, time, effort, mental space, energy out of their day that is not cleaning that you are paying for, so that they can remember to do that. And what happens when they forget? Because they're human. It happens. So why not have your fire smoke detector connected directly to the people who could do something about it? Because even if the smoke detector does communicate by sending you a message on your cell phone, wonderful. I don't think you're a fire person. And if you are, even then, you still want it to go to your buddies at the station. More efficient. So those are the things that will matter, okay? And when it comes to running an efficient system, right? So that's why communications it's just because what it's communicating is the status of the unit, right? You don't know what the status of your unit is. And that's a problem. That's a really big risk. Okay. So you have to have all of these things working in tandem together, accessible, scalable, so that you can use expert tools expertly. This is where I'm coming from. This is why it's really, really challenging to Google a lot of this stuff, right? And we're going to go into more stuff tomorrow, stuff that you cannot Google. So I am definitely looking forward to seeing a number of you here tomorrow at 4. And hopefully what you've experienced today has been exciting, because tomorrow we're going to begin to share with you what it is, how we do what we do, how have we created 7-figure earners, how do we create multiple 6-figure earners, how do they suddenly then have the ability to travel to London, and what on earth, and how does this all work, Jay? No problem. We're going to begin to break that down, let you guys know what it is you need to do, because we're here for you. We're literally here this whole week, a few more days, to help you make 2020 everything you said you wanted it to be. That's kind of what we've done for a number of years, and now we're here for you to help make that happen. So for those of you who have been here, you understand how this works. Don't forget to do the homework. Don't remember to tag a friend, bring them in, get more points, come back tomorrow, find out what on earth could be worth $5,000 that all I had to do was like, comment, and share in order to have a chance at winning. Yeah, come find out, do that, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys in just what feels like a wee few hours. It's been fun talking to you today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.